Anna, I just got a letter from my Krankenkasse. It says my salary has crossed the Jahresarbeitsentgeltgrenze. That sounds serious.
It can be important. In 2026, the Jahresarbeitsentgeltgrenze is 77,400 euros gross per year, or 6,450 euros per month.
My letter says my compulsory public insurance ends on December 31st. So, am I suddenly uninsured?
Nein, don't panic. If you're eligible, you can generally remain voluntarily insured in the GKV, public health insurance, or switch to PKV, private health insurance.
Okay, so which one should I choose?
The €1,000,000 question.
Great, let's start with the basics. What's the actual difference?
In GKV, your contribution is mainly based on your income, up to the contribution assessment ceiling. And as an employee, your employer normally pays roughly half.
So if I earn more, I generally pay more. And PKV?
Private health insurance works very differently. Your premium is not simply a percentage of your salary.
So what determines the price?
Mainly your age when you join, your health situation, and very importantly, the tariff and benefits you choose.
So two people earning exactly 100,000 euros could pay completely different PKV premiums because they could have different ages, health histories, and tariffs. And that's why a young, healthy, high earner might find PKV cheaper than GKV.
Yes. For some people, especially young and healthy high earners, PKV can initially be financially attractive. Your income can change, your family can grow, and your PKV premium isn't simply reduced because your salary goes down.
So if I earn less next year, my private insurance doesn't automatically become cheaper. And what about the benefits?
Depending on the tariff, PKV can offer more extensive benefits. For example, better dental coverage, lower deductibles, more choice of doctors, specialist treatment options, or different hospital accommodation.
And potentially faster appointments?
Sometimes, yes. Privately insured patients may have easier access to certain specialists or appointment slots, but it's not guaranteed. And private does not automatically mean better medical treatment. The tariff matters enormously. Sehr wichtig.
Meaning, a cheap PKV tariff and a premium PKV tariff can be very different. You know what? Sometimes I feel the same problem with German.
What do you mean?
I can understand the textbook German, but then I go to work and Germans say something completely different.
Das kenne ich.
Exactly. My textbook says, Wie geht es Ihnen?
And your colleague says, Na, alles gut?
And I'm thinking, what happened to the German I studied?
That's actually why we created our own German learning books, A1 to A2 level and German Mastery B1 to B2 level.
Yes, our books focus on the German words, expressions, and phrases that native Germans actually use in everyday conversations.
Exactly. Most textbooks teach you correct and formal German, which is important, but our books help you understand how people really speak.
So you get practical examples, everyday expressions and phrases you can actually use with colleagues, friends, neighbors, or at the supermarket.
Kein Ding. Passt schon. Na, alles gut? Real German that makes you sound more natural.
If you want to check out the books, we've put the links in the description.
And now, back to the slightly less fun topic, health insurance. Let's talk about something really important with PKV. Health checks. Unlike GKV, private insurers can assess your health before accepting you.
So your medical history can affect the offer?
Exactly. Depending on the circumstances, an insurer may charge a risk surcharge, apply exclusions where legally permitted, or potentially decline an application.
So being young and healthy can make a big difference when entering PKV.
It can. But that's also why you shouldn't wait until you're much older and then assume you'll get the same premium.
And then there's retirement.
Another major consideration. You need to consider how you'll afford your premiums over the long term, including later in life.
So the question isn't just how much do I save this month? It's what will this decision look like in 10, 20, or 30 years? Now let's talk about families, because this is where PKV can completely change the calculation. In GKV, eligible children and spouses can potentially be covered through free Familienversicherung. But in PKV,
There is generally no free family insurance. Each person normally needs their own private contract and premium.
so if I'm single, PKV might look very attractive. But once I have a spouse and children, I need to recalculate everything. And what happens if only one parent switches?
Imagine the father stays in GKV, but the mother switches to PKV. If the parents are married and the privately insured mother exceeds the statutory income threshold, the child may no longer be eligible for free statutory family health insurance.
So the child's insurance can actually be affected by one parent switch.
Genau. And then the child may no longer be eligible for free statutory family health insurance and therefore might need separate coverage, possibly private insurance.
Meaning another monthly premium, a separate insurance contract, and separate cost. But is private insurance always the only option for the child?
No. If those conditions don't apply, the child may remain eligible for free GKV family insurance, provided the other requirements are met.
And if free family insurance isn't available, but private insurance isn't required?
Voluntary GKV, freiwillig versichert, can be an alternative depending on the circumstances. So families need to calculate the whole package. Das Gesamtpaket. Spouse, children, premiums, benefits, and long-term costs.
Now, probably the scariest part. Can I go back to GKV after switching to PKV?
Not whenever you want. Moving from GKV to PKV can be possible once you're eligible, but returning from PKV to GKV is much more restricted.
So I can't just call my Krankenkasse and say, Hallo, ich bin wieder da.
Unfortunately, nein. Especially after age 55. For people aged 55 or older, returning to GKV can become particularly difficult. So PKV should never be treated like a temporary discount. It's a long-term decision.
Okay, so who should consider what?
If you're an employee below the JAEG, GKV is generally the straightforward option. If you are a high earner, compare GKV and PKV carefully.
Young, single, healthy, and earning well?
PKV can be attractive, but compare the actual tariffs and think long-term.
Family with children?
Look very carefully at GKV family insurance before switching. If you are a freelancer, then compare both systems based on your income, health, family plans, and financial stability.
Student?
Don't choose private insurance simply because it's cheaper today. Switching later can be complicated.
So the golden rule?
Nicht nur heute denken, sondern auch an morgen. Don't just think about today, think about tomorrow. There's no universal winner.
GKV gives you income-based contributions and potentially free family insurance.
While PKV can offer more individual benefits and potentially lower initial costs for some people, but with more long-term responsibility.
If this video helped you understand GKV and PKV, hit like, subscribe to Chai in German, and share your own experience or questions in the comments.
If you need further guidance, feel free to DM us on the Chai and German Instagram page. The link is provided below. Bis zum nächsten Mal. Tschüss!
Ciao. And seriously, don't ignore the Krankenkasse letter.